This morning, Netflix is under growing fire
CUTIES
after
has
its
caused
release
outrage on social media for what some have described as an overtly.
So today we are going to be talking about the highly controversial movie Cuties, originally a French film but has recently debuted on Netflix in the American market. Now, Netflix is in a lot of hot water, so we're going to break down everything, the plot, the backlash, and my unpopular opinions. So go ahead and take a seat, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the show.
Hey, say that don't mean I can rough it up. That don't mean you can back it up. I go make your knees buckle.
Now, I've actually watched the movie. I've been seeing a lot of videos go up, especially on YouTube, with people's opinions without actually watching the movies. They're either watching clips or they're listening to other people's opinions and giving their own. For me, it's like this. I didn't want to take anything out of context. I didn't want to write my opinion on something I haven't watched. So I didn't want to do that. So I have watched the movie. If you don't want to watch it, I can completely understand. But I do feel like it is important to look into, but it's completely and utterly up to you. We're going to go into the plot. So the plot of the movie, it's about a Senegalese family who's recently immigrated to France. The mom arrives with her 3 children without her husband, and the family is extremely traditional, Muslim religion. Our main character, 11-year-old Ami, basically finds out that her father has taken a second wife. She sees that her mother is extremely saddened and upset, but the mom kind of just accepts the situation due to her cultural and religious beliefs, despite her own personal feelings. So Ami basically is seeking some type of freedom of the culture and rebels, turning to the dance group with these group of girls. Now, these group of girls are pretty much presented as the edgy, independent, going against the grain type. Now, later you see a little bit of each girl's backstory or struggle. One of the girls is forcing herself to throw up in the bathroom. The other girls is not reaching the expectations of her parents. She described how her parents told her she was good for nothing, so on and so forth. So Ami is slowly realizing that this lifestyle isn't what it's thought out to be, but her home situation is getting much worse. So she kind of pushes herself more into the lifestyle using the power of social media. She starts to imitate and hypersexualize dance routine. So she's imitating different dancers, specifically a group that they mentioned who is a little bit older than these girls, to get that same praise, to get that same admiration, to get those same likes on social media, to kind of escape her reality at home. Now, as the movie progresses, you kind of see Ami doing more and more extreme things to obtain that affection and to get what she wants. And we will go into that a little bit later. Climax of the movie is basically a dance competition. These girls are preparing for a long time. And during the performance, they're doing a really raunchy performance. And this scene, she realizes she's unhappy. There is traditional African music in the background, I'm assuming from her village, that kind of calls her back to her roots and who she truly is as a person. She runs off the stage, goes home where her mother basically comforts her, saying that she doesn't have to go to the wedding and she can kind of make her own decision in regards to what she wants to do. And you see that Ami doesn't go to the wedding, but she does take on a more modest dress and is hopscotching outside with the other kids. Now, when this movie aired, I believe about a week and a half ago, it exploded on social media. People are now canceling their Netflix subscriptions. All these hashtags are taking center stage on Instagram and Twitter, saying cancel Netflix, or is it Netflix or pedoflix? The writer of the movie has basically gone into detail on why she made a movie and what inspired it. Now, of course, our favorite social media platform is now defending the movie, saying that Cuties is a social commentary against sexualization of young children. Now, I do agree that there are ways to combat sexualizing children without actually sexualizing children. I've definitely seen a lot of comments, and I do somewhat agree with them. There are a lot of scenes in the movie that are provocative, raunchy, and quite frankly uncomfortable to watch. There are a couple parts in there that I myself kind of had to fast forward just a little bit because it was making me mighty uncomfortable. Now, it kind of made me wonder what these child actresses had to do in regards to auditioning and what their parents had agreed on, because remember, these kids are 11, so it wasn't them necessarily who signed the contract, it was their parents. But on the flip side, Here are my unpopular opinions. Please, before you go in my comment section, hear me out, relax, open your mind, and just hear what I gotta say. Now, I understand where the backlash is coming from. I understand this movie makes a lot of people uncomfortable, including myself. But we cannot deny and we cannot overlook what the movie is trying to do. Now, the movie is supposed to combat or open our eyes in regards to what children, especially those who have access to social media, are exposed to on a day-to-day basis and what they try to imitate. We cannot sit here and deny that, especially girls have to kind of deal with the reality that they're trying to find different femininities. Of course, it shows it in the movie where Ami is more of a traditional, a little bit more modest household in regards to her religion, and she's also seeing this westernized culture in these other girls and wants to be a part of it. She's fascinated. She sees how they dress. She sees how edgy they are. She sees how they're different. Reality, especially in the Western culture. Kids are getting phones younger and younger. They're accessing social media that's getting more and more provocative. They're seeing the trends, they're seeing the brands, they're seeing the outfits, and quite frankly, whether they're ready or not, because they're children, whether they're mentally ready or not, they want to part of what's on trend. They want to be popular. They want to be seen as grown. So for me, it was like the movie well depicts that in regards to what the girls are constantly trying to imitate. Ami was constantly on her phone trying to imitate this older dance group that was more provocative, that was more sexy. Yes, they were older, but to her that didn't matter. She wanted to be like them. Now, again, there were plenty of scenes that were a little bit too long. I didn't like the cuts of them, how they're showing certain parts of these girls' bodies. Because remember, these kids are 11, which I kind of find disgusting. But in that same breath, I've kind of seen worse on television. Take example on TLC, Toddlers and Tiaras, or Dance Moms. They have been doing this same type of dances since the dawn of time. Toddlers and Tiaras have ran for 9 seasons, ending in 2016. These are little girls dressed and have so much makeup on. They've been spray panned, hair extensions, and are competing against other little girls in front of grown-ass adults. For what exactly? Dance Moms, again, they have been doing this since the dawn of time. Quite frankly, when I had saw the poster that Netflix has released for the movie Cuties to promote it, though there was an initial backlash, for me, I couldn't quite understand why, because that poster to me, if you have any type of background when it comes to dancing or have been in a dance group, those outfits are standard, unfortunately. Nowadays, sex sells. The raunchier, the better. Even on Dance Moms season 3, this was the poster that was shown for the promotion of Dance Moms. This was the Netflix promotion. You look at these two and show me what the difference is. Absolutely nothing. So for me, I couldn't quite understand where the backlash was coming from because, like I said before, I've seen worse. It was their parents. Now, disclaimer. These are my unpopular opinions. This is what I perceived in the movie. This is what I took from the movie, watching it and dissecting it and coming to you with this information. So before you go into my comment section, before you write your opinion, hear me out. Quick listen, and just have an open mind to what I'm about to say. If you are not ready to have a grown folk conversation about this movie, this video is not for you. Now, to me, this story shows a girl who's desperately trying to be a kid, yet is presented types of womanhood that she doesn't want to be a part of. For example, watching her mother react to the news that her father is marrying another woman. She sees that her mother is clearly distraught, clearly upset, but to show face, the mom calls other family members talking about how she's happy for the new couple and that she knew of the situation even though she didn't. Another scene where her auntie wakes her up at the crack of dawn, crust hasn't even fully developed in her eyes, to wake up and cook food at 3 o'clock in the morning for her father's wedding. And yet this is what she's told is being a woman. At this moment, I believe that Ami realizes that she doesn't want to be like her mother, and she views her mother as weak. And the polar opposite would be the young, sexualized dance group. To Ami, they seem free, expressive, liberated. But later down the line, we see that they have their own issues, problems, and being shackled to objectification. Now, Ami doesn't realize that because she's only 11. She's just trying to escape what her family is teaching her what it is to be a woman, which would be submissive, poised, modest, to obey her husband at all costs. Praying over Ami and going to her mother and saying there is no demon, there is no evil spirit in this girl. He tells the mother that she can leave the marriage because even he knows there isn't a devil in this girl. She isn't possessed by a spirit. She's literally just acting out due to the circumstances that she has been presented. This girl is seeking attention. She's seeking love. She's seeking freedom away from what is being oppressed by her, whether it's the sexualization of the dance group or the cultures and the traditions of the family. These dance movies and these trends on social media is that children do not realize that they're being sexualized. To them, it's not objectification. When they're acting grown, dressing a certain way, participating in trends that they shouldn't even be seeing, to them, it's just fitting in, being cool, being part of the popular crowd. And that's something people need to remember, especially when it comes to children. Again, there is a little bit of hypocrisy when it comes to this particular movie, because even now on TikTok, the WAP dance is being publicized, it's being popularized, it's viral, and it's being a huge trend. And this dance is pretty much the exact same thing as what the girls were dancing in the movie Cuties. Yet no one is saying about this. No one is talking about it, and no one is taking it down or bashing it in any way. To them, it's a trend. Here is a perfect example happening in front of you in real life time. Yet people choose to take down this movie and to strike down this movie and not realize that something very similar is happening before their eyes, which tells me that they missed the point of the movie. This is what I don't like. I don't like the fact that social media or society just really picks and chooses what they choose to cancel and what they choose to let slide. They're crucifying the movie Cuties, yet they've let Toddlers and Tiaras and Dance Mom slide for the longest of time. Like I said before, TikTok is also going under the radar for what these kids are doing on social media just for likes, and doing these really provocative dances at the tender age of 12, 13, 14, 15, just to become famous. We've seen many, many examples of it over and over and over again, yet we're choosing to ignore it. We're choosing to overlook it. We're choosing to turn a blind eye to it. This is a toxic battle of sexualization that has been a topic since the dawn of time. And at the end of the day, pedophilia and the exploitation of children is being normalized. It's being normalized by our government. It's being normalized by social media. And we as a consumers are allowing it. We as a consumers are feeding into it, because at the end of the day, sex is what sells.